Hey, it's Scott from San Marcos Makes. We are continuing with cooking the DNA, or my DNA. This episode will be on England. So I know most of y'all are gonna think we are gonna be cooking fish and chips. That's what I originally thought it would be, but no. It is chicken Tikka Masala. It's actually one of my favorite dishes. I just had no idea it was a national dish of England. But coming in at 29% of my DNA comes from England. So I wanted to cook their national dish. All right, so let's look at the ingredients. Not all of these will be in everybody's pantry, so there may be some that you need to go out and get. But we're gonna first start with our chicken. Chicken thighs, chicken breast will be fine. I would definitely go the skinless route. We need regular yogurt, not sweetened, just plain Jane yogurt. Need a can of whole tomatoes. We need peppers. So I'm gonna be using Fresnos. Fresnos are a little bit hotter than a jalapeno. I like that they're red. It's gonna bring out the color of the curry. So Fresno is a good selection, but you could easily use red bell pepper if you don't want any heat. We need an onion. We also need some heavy cream. Garlic. I'm always a fan of the purple striped garlic. We need a little bit of ginger. And then we need spices. So I have a turmeric, I have some cumin, I have some garam masala. This is probably one you don't have unless you do a lot of Indian cooking or curries. May have to order that one. Coriander seeds, some cinnamon maybe. This is one of my favorites out of Central Market. Some hot Thai curry. A lot of these seasonings are in this, but just want to add it for a little extra kick. And also add a little bit of cayenne, a little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of paprika, chili powder. All of these spices are going to make up that curry, very flavorful curry. Let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is toast some of these seasonings. It brings out the flavor in them. So we're going to start with tablespoons. All the measurements will be down below. So we're gonna put a tablespoon of coriander seeds and a teaspoon of cumin. And we're just gonna toast these seeds. It's just as simple as move them around, let them toast for a minute or two. You don't want them to start to smoke. You sure don't want to burn them or you need to start over. So just a minute or two is all you need, just till they start to nicely toast these to bring out the flavors. So, as you can see, they've toasted just a little bit, just barely started smoking, so I want to get them off the heat, out of the pan, and then we're going to put them in the blender. So we let these cool down just a little bit. We're going to add them to the blender. Now we've added them to the blender. We want to chop these up a lot. We will not want any kind of chunks, so we want to let this go. So let's finish the paste. We're gonna add the garlic, 7 cloves. I mean, you can add a whole pod if you want. Add ginger, about 2 to 3 inches of ginger peeled. We're gonna add the turmeric, a teaspoon of turmeric. Garam masala, a tablespoon of garam masala. And 2 peppers. Take off the stems, of course. Add 1/4 cup of water to help mix this. And you want to blend, chop. You may have to stir it around a little bit, obviously with the blade off, to get this all combined. But this will be our curry paste. So let's do that. All right, let's have a look. That is what we're after. Make sure all the ginger and garlic and peppers have been pureed up. One final step to blend this all together and make it silky smooth is add 2 tablespoons of whatever oil you want to. I'm using olive, but you could easily use canola or vegetable. And then give that a blend. So we want to take this chicken, whether you're using breast or chicken thighs, you want to cut it into about 1-inch pieces. It's now time for the chicken to take a bath. So we're gonna put in a cup of yogurt. And we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of our wonderful tiki curry. So just 2 tablespoons. And then we're gonna get in there, get our hands dirty and mix all this up. Add about 2 teaspoons or tablespoons of salt. I'm not measuring, just putting a little bit. And then finish mixing. Get it nice and mixed up. Once it's good and mixed up, we're gonna let this sit for at least 30 minutes, but you could definitely go overnight. I'm gonna probably let mine set for a couple hours before we cook the chicken up. All right, so scenery change. Mama came home, kicked me out of the kitchen. I guess it was getting a little more fragrant than the other time I had cooked it. So we are gonna finish this in the garage. I think we can do it just fine. I'm gonna, instead of cooking it in a skillet, I'm just gonna switch to electric skillet. Everything should be the same. So let's try it. We are first gonna take 28 ounces of whole peeled tomatoes, and we only want the tomatoes. We wanna drain them, get the juice out, and then we are gonna throw it in the blender. All right, let's get the lid and get this going. So after we pureed it, we're gonna push it back through the sieve and get it all the puree through. We're just getting all the seeds out, and if there's any extra pulp, we want to get this out, but simply just keep going until you got nothing but seeds basically left. Okay, so our chicken's been marinating for a few hours. One issue I had with it before was seemed to be a little too much water. I think some of the spices brought out some of the water. So I'm actually gonna just kind of rest some of my chicken, or the chicken, on a sheet to kind of let some of this run off, or at least not that it's soaking in water. Probably I'm kind of worried using this electric skillet that things won't be hot enough, so I want to try this just to kind of be on the safe side. So I'm not gonna let it sit for a long period of time. I'm just really pulling it out, so I'm not adding any of this extra water, because you do want to try to get a little bit of a crust going on this chicken. You're gonna sear it on all sides. So after I get it out, I'm gonna heat the electric skillet up to get it pretty close to as hot as it'll get. And then we will sear all the chicken on all sides. All right, a pan's hot enough. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of oil. And then we're gonna add our chicken. We're wanting to basically brown them all sides. If it doesn't fit, don't overcrowd this pan. If it doesn't all fit, make 2 batches. Not worth it. You want a little bit of brown on it. I know I'm not gonna get it all in there, so I'm gonna let that cook. All right, now it's time to flip. You're not trying to cook it. You're just trying to get a little bit of a brown to it. Get a little bit of that fond going. You see it's definitely got some brown to it. Now, this is an electric skillet, so everything around the ring is really what's getting hot. That's the nature of an electric skillet. If you have a Dutch oven or a nice big steel bottom pan, that would work well. Cast iron would work okay. You are using tomatoes, so a lot of people don't like to use the acid in a cast iron. But honestly, it would work absolutely fine. So we'll cook it a couple minutes on this side, and then we'll go in batches and finish everything else up. All right, so that is basically what we're after. We're gonna get all this chicken out of the pan. Has a nice color. did still have a lot of water in there, so we will cook a lot of that water out as we cook. But let's get this chicken out, and then we will be ready to move on with the sauce. We will be returning the chicken to the pan in a little bit, but we've got to get all this goodness that's around here, the fawn. So let's put the chicken aside and we will hook up this sauce. All we're going to do is add 4 tablespoons of butter, and we want to get this starting to melt, and then we will add our onions to help get the rest of the spawn off there. I'm comfortable with that. Let's get these onions in here, and we will saute the onions. You want to get the onions cooked so they're nice and translucent. Cook them down a little bit in that butter and all those seasonings. All right, after the onions have sauteed just a little bit, we want to add some chili powder. And we want to add the rest of our Tikka Paste. Try to get all of it, and we want to cook this down a little bit. Keep kind of stirring it around. Get the good color. Probably reduce this down in temperature. Let's say about a medium. Really go after scraping some of this pan. There's a lot of flavor right there. Make sure all of the onions are going to keep continuing to cook. That paste is going to continue to cook. This is where you're really developing all that flavor. This is also a good point if you want to add any other ingredients, cinnamon, nutmeg, this is a great time to do it. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to be eyeballing some of this. This is a little bit of nutmeg. We'll be careful with this one. This is some good cinnamon. Just adding a little bit of flavor. And lastly, I'm going to add a little bit of curry powder, just give it a little extra kick. And stir this around. All right, you can see this is really starting to come together. It's starting to stick a little bit, so this is where we want to add our tomato sauce. Get all of that in there, that puree of tomato. And we want to cook this down. And we're going to simmer this for about 10 minutes. Again, you want to get in, really stir, try to get all of those brown bits off the pan. And anytime you're getting brown bits off the pan, it's also making it easier to clean later, but that's where all your flavor is at. So I'm going to let this cook over medium heat to a simmer. Probably even bring mine down just a little bit more. And you just want to let it cook. About 10 minutes, a lot of that water is going to reduce. And we have the beginnings of a really good sauce. All right, so that is what we're after. After about 10 minutes, some of the water's been evaporated. Now we're going to stir in 1 1/4 cup of heavy cream. We'll stir that in, and we'll cook for a couple minutes as we stir this in. Okay, so next, last little bit, you want to add your chicken back in, and I'm not going to dump this in because you'll see there's lots of water in there. Some of it's water, some of it's juice, but I don't want to water my sauce down. So I'm just getting this out, and then I will stir this in, and all I want to do is simmer this for about another 10 minutes. Get that chicken completely cooked, that sauce velvety smooth. Just kind of watch your heat. I'm struggling tremendously with this electric skillet. I haven't found a good simmer temperature, so I'm really having to stay on top of it. Raise it, lower it, raise it, lower it, just to keep that slow simmer. Getting there though. But again, just cook this down for another 10 minutes. while this is cooking, a good time is right now to go make your rice. Basmati rice is what you're after. But I will tell you, cook in an Instant Pot. I will link to a video here, I don't know which way it'll end up, that will show how I cook it in the Instant Pot. It's very easy, foolproof. It takes probably less than 10 minutes, and then a couple minutes for it to seal. But you're gonna get perfectly individual grains of rice, which this sauce is gonna soak it up. The only other thing I would say that you might want to get, if you can get your hands on, is some naan bread. Naan bread would be really good with this, some garlic naan, just to lap up some of this sauce. So, gonna continue cooking this, but go make your rice, and don't forget, wash your rice. Very important with basmati, wash that rice. Get those starches off those individual grains so the rice doesn't stick. So this is done. You do want to taste it, see if you need any salt or pepper. I needed just a little bit of salt, so I added just a little bit more kosher salt. All right, we're gonna take our bowl of rice. Take some of this Tikka Masala, pour it right on top of that rice. Let's go 3. I'm probably going to be the only one eating this. There we have it. Chicken Tikka Masala. Let's try it. So our finished portion of chicken Tikka Masala. Oh, it looks so good. It smells incredible. Let's see how it tastes. Had no idea this is British, but this is so good. I cannot believe I made this at home. So good. But it's a British thing. Here is your chicken Tikka Masala. Cheers. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done already. Stay tuned. We'll see what's next on the next country. If you've missed any of this, go back and look at the other ones. I think you'll enjoy it. I've had a lot of fun doing it. Thanks.